Welcome. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm a big fan, Boris Kodjo. Obviously, you need no introduction, but tell our viewers, some who may not know who you are, what you do.
All right, I'm Boris Kodjo. I'm an actor and a producer and an investor, and I've been spending a lot of time on the continent, building and creating economic development opportunities and investing.
Excellent. So, what was it that drew you to the continent to create these opportunities, and what is the attraction for you?
Well, I'm half Ghanaian. My dad is from Ghana, so I spent a lot of time there growing up. And also, I was pretty tired of the old stereotypical narratives that had been told about the continent for the past 100 years, created and enforced by Western media. And I wanted to counteract that narrative because I know that when you control your narrative, you control perception. And when you control perception, you create your future. And having been given this platform, I'm now able to use it and to create ways for us to not only control but also own our narratives in the sense of storytelling.
So what are some of the ways you're doing that?
We launched a content fund in partnership with Afrexim Bank about 4 months ago at Milliken Conference.
Okay.
And we are going to invest and deploy capital in film productions, short form productions, any type of content related investments in order to create an asset base that gives creatives on the continent the chance to own their IP and not continuously export their talent. I think it's very important that we, as the original influencers on the continent, we take part in owning our narrative because, as I said earlier, it shapes perception and it allows us to participate in global markets in a way that gives us more leverage.
Absolutely. So you were part of a group of people who really helped to put Ghana on the map in a really big way in the past few years. I remember writing about it. I was at CNN at the time, and it was called the Year of Return, if I remember correctly. Tell us about that period, how it came about, and what the impact from that time has been, even until now.
Back in 2019, I was approached by the then president of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, who chose a few of us to help create or curate a week-long celebration, reconnecting with our ancestry, celebrating our collective heritage and excellence. And myself and my brother and Bozoma St. John and a few others, we got together and we brought a bunch of leaders of business, sports, and entertainment to Ghana to celebrate the occasion. We created a bunch of content. We generated billions of impressions worldwide, and people started taking notice of this new narrative that now went viral.
It did, yeah.
And it ignited tourism in a way that never happened before. We took Ghana from 40,000 tourist visa to 1.2 million in 1 year. And
40,000 to 1.2 million? Oh my goodness. They must have been very busy in the visa office.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is very significant when you look at what tourism does, right? And how many different sectors benefit from tourism. And tourism is really the baseline to making any sort of changes and to improving on infrastructure, manufacturing, tech. There's so many industries and sectors that are affected when tourism is increased.
Absolutely.
And that was the case study, if you will, on how impactful content can be, because obviously we created content around the occasion and it went viral over and over again.
Yeah.
So that's what really seeded the idea of us making this content creation more intentional.
Yeah. I think, do you think sense of people just want to experience a different Africa, different from what they've been told it is?
It's two ways that people connected with what happened. On the one hand, people had never experienced the continent. On the other hand, people had experienced Africa, but never saw it represented this way before.
Right.
And that brought a great deal of excitement and also investment, right? Because people were informed by what they saw. Again, I think it's very important that we own the narrative, that we continuously strive to control and to tell our stories and not having our stories be told.
Yeah.
And when we do that, I think in partnership and in coordination with others, whether from the diaspora or on the continent, we can start taking advantage of some of the opportunities that come our way.
Yeah. So on the flip side, one thing I've heard quite often from people in Ghana, from people in Lagos, where I live, is that this effort to really kind of brand our countries and attract foreign visitors, etc., can have a detrimental effect on locals because the prices get pushed up. So how can we mitigate against that to ensure that
Really
locals don't get pushed up?
I think what's very important is that you invest in opportunities in partnership with local communities.
Right.
I'll give you an example. One of the real estate projects that we invested in had an equity participation aspect where the local community around the development become shareholders in the property and the development. That's just one example. With movies, when you build a studio, you have to make sure that the crew, staff, suppliers are local and locally trained.
Right.
That way, all the SMEs in the area will benefit. I don't believe in investing in Africa without investing with Africa.
Right.
And I think that's a very important distinction to make.
Yeah. Because it can create resentment. Actually,
Oh, absolutely,
can't it? Yeah.
absolutely. But that's not what we're doing, and that's
No,
not the point. And
absolutely.
I think it's important that you mention it because you have to remind people to be conscious of that and to make sure that we invest with Africa.